letters of communications?
There is one. From the family of George B. Looney, addressed to the OBPA board. Thank you so much for your generous donations to the Ogdensburg Boys and Girls Club in Dad's memory. We truly appreciate it. Sincerely, the family of George B. Looney.
You gotta let me know what I owe you.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever. Approval of the minutes is done.
None.
You got the minutes?
None. No.
None. Communications, presentations of citizens? None. None. Staff reports?
None. We had a board meeting very recently.
Okay. You want to change the May 5th meeting?
Yes, I need to see if we can reschedule the May 5th meeting to either May 12th or May 14th.
Well, I'm going to go with the 12th. That's a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
And we'll shoot for that. I don't know, that's...
That's probably not a bad idea, because doesn't Frank have some sort of a conflict?
Yes, Frank has a conflict on Tuesday the 12th.
Thank you.
Frank does?
Yes.
On May 12th?
Yes, second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday of the month.
So let's move it, no? Since we haven't had Frank here for, this will be number 3 board meeting.
The other choice was the 14th?
14th is Thursday.
I don't have a problem. I'm not going to, I'll move to the 14th. It's out there a little bit for me. I'm not sure where I'll be then. It's just out a little bit on that. So.
And that's tentatively for 4 o'clock as well?
4 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. Committee reports. Oops. You don't, none of you people have anything that, is that a director report?
No, we just had a board meeting.
Yeah. Chief Financial Officer? Nothing? Director? John? Okay. I guess this goes down to Steve. You got anything, Steve? Turkeys or anything? Come up with something. Say something. Who's out there driving around on the runway yesterday with a little car?
Don't know.
Somebody unknown, eh?
Could be the FAA.
I don't know. I see a little car on the end of the runway running around.
The Shriners practicing?
Probably.
There is one thing for public comment. I would like to thank the public for keeping Wall Street neat. So far it's been kept up really neat, especially with all the activities that's been down there lately for ice fishing.
Community reports. There is, we had facility committee that had meetings on some 3 issues, and they have all been approved to bring to the full board for approval. So, how about the finance committee, Don?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Unfinished business, events, we got that taken care of. So we'll go into the items.
First item is a resolution of support for local steel mill that's looking to locate locally. The company name is Steel Development Company. They've applied for 35 megawatt allocation through New York Power Authority's Preservation Power Program. This would create potentially 200 new permanent jobs and 800 to 1,000 construction jobs. As we, on a regular basis, promote regional investment job creation, we especially support companies that will bring much needed, well-paying jobs to the area. So we're recommending a resolution of support for Steel Development Corporation, LLC's 35 megawatt application of low-cost power through the NYPA Power Preservation Program.
I know I should probably wait for a first and a second on the motion for discussion, but in the past we've been cautious on voting on approval for things that we don't have a lot of information on. So when you say well-paying jobs, these are not going to be part-time, these are going to be full-time with benefits. How do we know any of this?
What's been publicly stated so far is $50,000 a year jobs.
Full-time benefits?
Yes, St. Lawrence County IDA is on record in supporting this. St. Lawrence County is on record supporting this as well.
Okay.
And I know and I'm going to apologize in advance, I know there are some other organizations out there supporting this as well, but
Okay.
they're
But we
just
do
not-
know when you say well-paying, that they're full-time with benefits, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more questions on it? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
The second item is approval of maintenance agreements with Revenue Markets. This is on a toll collection system, provides unlimited phone support, warranties on all application software, updates for the software, real-time monitoring, and off-site data retrieval. Annual contract would begin April 1st, 2009 through March 31, 2010, $14,160, which would be the fourth consecutive year at this price. There is a maintenance contract on the Oracle of $1,920 billed to the authority as well.
Mark, are you and Debbie satisfied with the service and the software? I know in the past you've gone and gotten trained on it.
Yes, they're very responsive.
Yes. Okay.
They're very good.
Any other questions? Motion's in order to approve the resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Mary, do I have a second by Don. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So ordered.
Item 3 is approval of a grant offer by the Development Authority of the North Country. You recall back in 2008, Senator Griffo designated $15,000 in financing to assist with the engineering costs of a port conveyor system design. Just to clarify, we use conveyors at the Port of Ogdensburg in 3 locations, one at the ship for loading and unloading, one inside buildings for stockpiling, and the third location is at the rail for loading and unloading. DANC, Development Authority of the North Country, would be the administrator of these funds. DANC has made an offer to the Bridge and Port Authority in the amount of $15,000, identified as you see there for conveyor engineering. And it's important to note this is only for the design.
Can we add that with engineering costs of a port conveyor system design? Can we add that word design to the resolution? For assistance with engineering cost of a port conveyor system design?
You can do that.
With that modification, I'll make the motion.
I got a question. Steve, do you make this recommendation? Does this come through you?
Well, together, all of us,
Process, huh?
yeah, through the staff here, yeah, we've talked about it. As far as, it's not my specific, I'm in support of it, but it wasn't my idea.
Where the specifics come from? I'm just trying to learn the process here.
It kind of evolved out of some discussions with a couple of projects that wanted to come in, and just some of the needs that and it kind of pointed toward the need to move materials around the port, different materials, and so we're just trying to get a kind of handle on things that maybe that we handle right now, and can kind of work this into that, or possibly, if another prospect comes along, we incorporate that to fit that, so that we can move things a little more efficiently than, just trying to improve things there. So it's kind of an overall thing. It wasn't anything specifically that I requested. I mean, it's something I'd like to see, but
Okay.
we did as a staff.
Okay, so you all
Yeah.
put your eyes, okay,
Yeah.
I just
The
kind of...
original funding on this came through Senator Griffo and legislative.
No, it's not about the funding. I'm just thinking the creativity, how your process comes up with this.
I think John had some prospects too, and that was some of the deficiencies that they noticed, that the conveyor system wouldn't have been ideal for them. And that we have the money to update it, and that's when I think our staff got together.
Yeah, our handling costs, we're always trying to, just trying to take a step out, and this will help us a long ways toward that, to look at what we do.
Efficiency and capacity.
Correct.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, second? I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Anyone else?
Fourth item is approval of an easement with St. Lawrence Gas Company. St. Lawrence Gas wants to use a right-of-way and ask for an easement to install, use, maintain, and repair an underground pipeline for the purpose of providing natural gas service. This geographically is located outside of Building 14 in the industrial park. The fee for the easement would be nothing for as long as St. Lawrence Gas continued to use the easement. Also, one other important note here is the easement would also require proof of appropriate insurance as well. One other item of note, a question was asked prior to the meeting, how come it's $0 as opposed to $1? I did check with the authority's attorney, either option is okay there. So we can either do $1 or $0.
Will we get the dollar?
Well, usually we get a consideration. So that was my question to Wade, is it, don't we need consideration to make this legally effective? And I said, would you ask Frank that? And Frank obviously came back.
I talked to Frank, and
you don't
he
need
said it can go either way.
consideration of $1.
Yeah.
So,
Pipeline goes from where to where?
It's outside Building 14 and is actually an upgrade and strengthening of the line.
Trying to loop it. What it does, Don?
and that will serve the purpose for our tenants as
There's
well.
an existing, Building 14 sits right here. There's an existing 4-inch gas main right there, and it
Okay.
upgrades that and also puts a reducing station valve right there.
Actually, the reducing station, the rest is in the right-of-way of the roadway, and the reducing station goes under our property, so it's all incorporated right there. We're trying to increase pressure in the whole area by looping all the...
Yeah, you would.
So this doesn't-
Yeah, you would have.
So this doesn't extend the gas service as much as it augments the
Yeah, it
efficiency of it.
improves it. We have lower pressures on this side, I guess, so if they tied in on the other side, and then that loop right there kind of regulates it.
Okay.
So they're coming up through there.
The question was raised at the Facilities Committee meeting. If they have to do anything, it's up to them to pay for that. If it has to be removed because we need to move it, it's up to them to pay for that, so it's all in the, I guess, the grant lease, what do you call it, easement?
Grant of easement.
So,
Yes.
everything is pretty well covered on that, according to that, Wade read out of that easement thing. So we have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second, Sam?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Next item, item B1 for the Commerce Park. This is approval of a side letter agreement with the Supreme Court Appellate Division 3rd Judicial Department Mental Hygiene Lease Service. That's quite a long name, but what this actually is, it's Office of Mental Hygiene is looking to rent space at the Building 12. And like us, as they're a state-related entity, it requires controller approval. Sometimes a controller adds things, sometimes they don't. In this case, the state controller required that a side letter agreement be approved, which would modify the lease in the following ways. The term of the lease would switch March 25th, 2009, and terminate on March 31st, 2014, point 1. Point 2, the structural alterations would be completed by March 25th, 2009, unless otherwise agreed on in writing. And the third item is Mental Hygiene would have the right to terminate their lease in the event that conditions are not as stated over there in the building.
Wade, just so you know, I looked up the state finance law, and 139J and 139K of the state finance law talks about disclosure of contacts and restrictions on contacts during the procurement process. And so what they want us to sign, all these extra forms they want us to sign, basically assures the comptroller that we didn't schmooze with them, lobby them, buy them gifts, buy them tickets, that the procurement we had was basically arm's length.
Everything was above board.
And also, the non-responsibility agreement shows that within the past 4 years, there was no finding by the state in doing business with us that we violated that non-contact provision or that we didn't give them complete information on any of our disclosure forms, which to me seems pretty minimal. And it's basically that open government, I would say, that open government tactic that they, theory that they're using, which makes sense. Well, that's what all those forms mean, those 139J and Ks.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second, Doug. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
item, item B2, is similar. It's 139J3 and 139J6B forms, and specifically, again, required by the New York State Comptroller.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The last item under other such matters is approval of a lease with Tolmar Manufacturing. This is for 3,873 square feet of space. This is in Building 14, which is our new building in Commerce Park. The term of the agreement would be April 15th, 2009 through April 14th, 2012, at the rate of $7.50, $8, and $8.50 per square foot in year 1, year 2, and year 3, respectively. There'd be a 3-month security deposit of $7,261.86 required in advance. Tolmar would have the right to terminate the agreement at the end of year 1 by providing the authority with written notice. Should they elect to terminate the lease, the security deposit plus interest would be forfeited. They would have right of first refusal on the adjacent space of 3,873 square feet in Area 2. Should Tolmar not elect to exercise a right of first refusal, they'd be responsible for half the cost of erecting a demising wall for that space. And as it stands right now, the total cost on that is estimated to be $23,500, so Tolmar's share would be $11,750. If they expanded, the 7,746 square feet would be at $7.50 per square foot. In year 2, $8 per square foot. In year 3, the Facilities Committee was discussed the next paragraph, which is the leasehold improvements. All improvements will be responsibility of Tolmar. Tolmar would pay $3,000 towards the construction of the bathroom in the office area, $8,530 towards the installation of a 400 amp electrical service in the factory area. In addition, all charges for electrical power in that area would be responsibility of Tolmar, and 80% of the gas bill for the entire space would be responsibility of Tolmar. And as with any lease agreement that we have with tenants, proof of appropriate insurance would be required.
Now, how will the 80% work? Will we get the gas bill and bill them, or do they get the gas bill and bill us?
We get the gas bill, and we'll pay the full shot, and then we'll bill the tenant 20% of that, or 80%. 80% going, yeah.
Now, how much, if they're going to pay $8,530 toward the installation of a 400 amp, what's our portion of that?
Total cost on that is $12,000.
So that portion would be
$42.70.
In the bathroom, half?
Share on that.
Our share is 7, and their share is 3.
Okay. So we're going to have about $11,300 into this. And if they vacate early, we'll get about $7,200, $7,300 of it back.
Yes, that's correct.
And we'll have the improvements as well, of course.
But I'm just trying to recapture, in my mind, get a recapture of how much will be out of pocket if they leave us after year 1.
And the thing I forgot to mention too, this would also create in year 1 about 5 jobs.
What, do they have any projections for year 2 or 3 for jobs, or no?
Need 12 jobs over 3 years. 12 jobs over 3 years.
So 4 or 5 in year 1, and then by the end of year 3 it'll be 12.
We got 4 or 5 in year 2, and then a couple others in year 3.
That's if they expand, right?
Yes.
If they don't expand, it's going to be 5 jobs. I don't want somebody, that's, I think, the question being asked.
4 to 5 in year 1, and if they expand another 4 to 5, and if they expand another 4 to 5.
Theoretically, they could have that in the smaller area, I suppose. I don't know.
But right now, I'm not going to say we're guaranteed, but we're looking at 4 to 5 jobs right now in year 1.
Yes.
And those are full-time jobs with benefits.
Well,
We don't
I
know.
was told $12 to $15 an hour plus an engineer. I don't know if
Okay.
that benefits or not really.
In a new company.
It's a brand new company.
All right. The only question I got on this is, what would happen if, do we have an out here on this particular lease if someone come and needed that whole building?
No.
They do, but we don't.
They have an out after year one, yes. No, we don't have an out. We can't kick them out, no. If we get someone that needs the whole building.
But they stay for year 2 when they're bound to stay for year 3 as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our hope is that they would.
Right. Fulfill
Yeah.
the 3-year contract that they have.
Contract. Yeah, and that over time, maybe they'll take the whole building.
So our only true risk on the front end is year 1. Beyond that, we'll have a 3-year commitment. Okay.
What do you manufacture, John?
It's military
Assembly.
assembly. I don't know how confidential it is. That's why I'm hesitating.
Okay, it's military related.
It's,
You see us after. We'd be happy to tell you that.
What, if they do take the other square footage, what happens to the demising walls? Does it stay or does it come out?
the minimizing wall won't go in unless,
We need it to.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if that drawing's on the back side, so you're not going to,
you have the ability to rent the other half of the space. There's no
so if we do rent it, then the wall that's built, I say, contribute 50% to that.
And the theory is that the tenant that would go on the other, can pay the other half of the demising wall. So that just protects us.
But if they want to rent more space, they're going to have to come back and negotiate the lease with us, right?
No,
Or it would automatically move over.
the terms are in there for year 2 and year 3, and there's a kind of an incentive in there that the lease rate stays the same at $750 for year 2. If they do expand, that's to encourage them to expand, take the full pay, if you will. And then in year 3, the lease rate's at $8 a square foot.
Am I reading this wrong? It says $750 in year 1, $8 in year 2, $850 in year 3.
That's what I thought around is the,
Got it.
yeah.
How does this work? There's not a wall to divide the space, correct, at this point in time?
Right, they would be in there, and however we want to monitor it.
Well, I'm just saying, we put a blue light on the, I'm not saying, we made a blue light on the wall. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They would have the word.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
no,
They'd give
maybe
us-
more a foot or two, but I mean,
they'd give us the word if they infringe on that area, then we can go ahead.
hard
I
not
have some blue pages tape at home. I'll bring it. It's a shiny scene.
It's much cheaper than the $23,000
Yeah.
home.
do an idiot.
And it's just painted, yes, that's true.
Well, I mean, obviously, if they see that space, obviously they'll start to realize
Mission creep.
they'll be able to creep over, won't it? They'll creep over.
You will oversee all the electrical upgrades.
Yeah. So we got some things done on that since the last meeting. Isn't that something that helped with before, so.
Now, on that same front, have we had any other prospects in the meantime looking at that building? Is there anything more we should know about people looking at that building? In other words, that particular space, or?
No.
No.
No. I think we had a proposal out there for, I talked with someone a while ago about that space, and it's going to take them a year to even make a decision to get it through their company and everything. We've had some other kind of general inquiries for kind of existing companies that they're putting bids in on contracts and, saying we may need space, but nothing concrete.
Any other questions?
Yeah, geez.
Motion's in order to approve the resolution.
It'll drain us.
So with that,
Second?
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Don't forget to put the tape down there, John. Mary's got a roll.
I'll bring you some. the Spider-Man theme will be done at my house.
Anything else?
Yes, there is a need for executive session this afternoon regarding Riverbank.
You got one 6-year-old.
Is there anything going to come out of that?
I don't expect so. Just direction from the board on this way ahead.
Okay, we have a motion to move executive session. We got nothing coming out of it, so.
And what's the purpose, I'm sorry?
Contract negotiations.
I'll make the motion.
There's a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Brian, you can notify if your son comes out of that. Say you've been hanging around.
You can't keep shit.
Big man.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, well, can you guys business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Oh, good.
Any warmer up there?
The sun, does it?
When I watch sports, when I hear interviews, when I read all the stuff that I read,